I'm Nancy Odegaard. I'm a conservator and professor at the Arizona State Museum on the campus of the University of Arizona in Tucson. I'm at the ATALM meetings in 2015 in a section on the care and curation of basketry. And we're going to talk a little bit about, in some detail, a very simple mount for basketry that you'd like to hang. This is just a sample basket here at the conference, and we've talked a little bit about cleaning and about labeling with this sample. But this basket, if you look closely, has a little mount on the outside, and that's the part I'm going to talk about. If we look at the back side, we can see that there's a number of spokes and a tie. So we often refer to this as a spider, a bit like spider legs. And the idea is to make something that's simple, that can hang, and as it's hanging, it distributes the weight on the full surface of the basketry, so we don't get a single piercing and we don't get a distortion by hanging it from one location or propping it and having it go. And this is the reason that very common plate mounts that are designed for ceramics and porcelain are inappropriate for basketry. They're just too soft. So the products that we use are some coated wire available from a hardware store, and there's a couple different types that are kind of useful. Obviously the dark black and the brown and the tan might match a little bit easier to the colors of basketry and be a little less visible. We use a cotton twill tape, but you could use a cotton string or another type of material to sort of tie your spokes. We have a pair of wire cutters and pliers. This is what was available at the conference, but we might at our own museum have a variety of sizes and shapes that we would use for this purpose. But that's it in terms of the materials. If I open this one up, I can see that I had used these spokes, this wire rather, coated wire, and created a kind of a strip. And I will cut to be approximately the size that I need to go to the center. So this one is a little bit long, so I would want to curl it back so that it was about like this. That'll give me my approximate length. I'm going to want to use at least 3 and more often 5 or 6 of the little spokes. In a really large basket, I may go up to about 8 or 10. I want to distribute the stress all the way around, so it has to really be more than 2 or 1, and kind of like an uneven number to distribute it around. Then I make a loop. I use the wire cutters to cut my metal, and I get my piece. So I need to know the length that I want. One of the things that you can do on the part that will go to the front, like you see here, is to cut at an angle as much as possible, and that way you don't have the wire that's inside showing as much. So it is a little bit shiny there, and I can take this now and curl it around, but I don't really want it to be too sharp or too rough on my basketry. But if you look, I can actually make the wire not show. The other thing I can do is kind of go in and trim that, or I might be able to camouflage that a little bit with a Sharpie prior to mounting it. Once I have my spokes, and I'll just take this out and I've adjusted it, I will take and create the shape that I need using the pliers, and then I'm kind of designing it to go. So perhaps you can see that this one has a little bit of an angle, so I've manipulated the angle and come in, done a curl at the end so that I can create the string, and then I will have them all strung up. I sometimes have to do a little adjustment, and this particular piece has been through a lot of handling and a lot of demonstration, so these are a little bit loose. But once they're assembled and I have it tied together, I can take it to my wall and hang it on a hook, and I've now distributed the weight of my mount all the way around the basket, and it can hang safely.